Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's your host Blackie here, and today we are going to play the demo of Verlore Verstand. I don't know if that's supposed to be German or something, because then it would be like Verlore Verstand. But either way, it looked interesting, and it's just a small demo, so we'll see what it's like. I couldn't record myself while playing the game because there's no option to turn down the music, and the volume of that was just insane, so I'm recording over the recording. So yeah, my first impression was that the graphics look really good, and I kind of liked the snow effect, and the textures weren't too bad. Obviously there's better in other games, but this is what I'm assuming to be an indie game. Um, or at least one with not the kind of production value of, like, I don't know, The Forest, or triple A titles like Doom or Valhalla and stuff like that. Well, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I think for that it's not bad. It did look pretty good. The sun looked pretty good. Once you walk up to the tree, as you probably saw, you just kind of get warped into a different world, and it's just a long corridor. At this point, I was kind of afraid that it'll go down the PT route of a looping hallway, but as I found out later in the game, it's cooler and worse at the same time. So here you just go through random doors. Pretty much everything looks the same. There isn't much to say about this area. It's very, very empty. Lots of dead ends, some random furniture. There was some, I guess, I don't want to even say spooky noises, but there's some, I guess, creepy noises of, like, people walking on the attic, and the floor creaking. The footsteps from you as the character were extremely loud, so sometimes it was hard to hear. Yeah, this area here, there's really nothing special here. Like, there wasn't even material in the game to make commentary on, to be honest. The puzzles were more than simple. And at least in this part, like the first part, obviously didn't have a puzzle. You just walk up to the tree, the screen distorts, and you get into the new area. And in this one, the only real gameplay was walking up to doors that opened automatically, which kind of annoyed me a little bit because it felt like there wasn't any gameplay at all. And the second part being walking up to lights and then them just turning off. Like, there's no button play, you don't have to crouch, you don't have to sprint, you don't have to jump, which are the only mechanics in the game other than walking forward, backward, or strafing left and right. So that felt very, very bare on that end, but I figured, maybe they're planning on making some interesting puzzles with that. And yes, there were some traps, but you didn't even have to jump. You can just literally just walk over them. No real danger there. If you do die, which I found out later on, the screen turns to black and then you just reappear at your last checkpoint. It's really not daunting. Didn't feel challenging at all, which I thought was kind of a shame, but I figured, maybe it's not supposed to be challenging, maybe it's more for the atmosphere or like the story behind it, but yeah, my initial thoughts were very wrong. Like, if there is a deeper meaning in the game, I did not get it. I'm assuming that's where the full game comes into, because, like I said, this is just a demo. And I played it through in very, very short time. I think it took me about 20 minutes to actually play all the way. No, not 20. I think it's 30 minutes. I think it was about 30 minutes it took me to completely play through the game. And yeah, it's I don't know. I didn't feel satisfied when I ended it. I didn't feel like I want to buy the full game. I honestly don't even know what the full game would be like. Like, it feels that this demo is the full game. Anyway, once you go through all those corridors, turn off a few lights, you get to this lovely painting of the tree we saw, and as before, your world distorts and you get transported into the next area. which was actually my favorite area because it just looked really, really cool. Like, I really liked the design of the third area. The first one was kind of pretty, the second one was very bare, but the third one looked really cool, like with the flames and the endless abyss, those cool little, pictures on the walls with the skeletons and the wings and stuff, so that was pretty really neat. Um, I really do wish that this area would have been a bit smaller though, because it felt like it was too long. And there is actually a mechanic in this that I, to this day, still don't quite understand. Because it's a normal gamer reflex to not walk through fire, because usually fire is very, very hot. So I just spent the entire time exploring the first part of the area where you can walk through or cross the bridges, and you can see some fire, you see some broken bridges, some more of those cool archways with those skeletons on it. Nothing too fancy, nothing too small. But then I kind of got stuck because there was nowhere to go, and I saw where I had to go because there's a light in the distance, which you should be able to see very, very soon. And my gamer instincts just told me that that's where I had to go, but I couldn't quite figure out how to get there because there was no clear indication of what to do next, which I kind of liked, but at the same time, when I found out how to progress, it just kind of irked me a little bit. So yeah, I spent like a good 10-15 minutes exploring this area trying to figure out how to get to the next part, which is what bothered me the most about this game. It's my favorite area, like I mentioned, but the mechanics, because here all you have to do is jump, and at one point you have to crouch like once. That's it. That's the entire gameplay. That's all the mechanics is in this last part of the game where you have to jump and crouch once. So that was very, very bare. Made it feel a lot like a walking simulator more than anything else. You don't have a voice. You actually have a pretty insane jump. Like, you actually kind of float in the air for a little bit. So the puzzle here wasn't difficult. Once you knew what to do, it was so easy. Which I thought was kind of a shame. Like, I would have preferred if they had it like that you had to do something in a specific order or something just to add some sort of layer of gameplay. But as I very soon found out that my initial thought was correct, I had to get across this gap here. So what you have to do actually is, because I thought you had to sprint and jump because I did make it once. And I don't think you were supposed to, because you actually have to walk through the fires. Yeah. You walk through the fires, they go out, and then the world shifts, and then you can just jump from platform to platform. That was the entire mechanic of this area. That you just walk through every single fire you see, and then jump from platform to platform. And then came the worst part, which was the ending, because it put you right back here at the beginning of the game, with the big tree and all the snow and the vast empty space. And I figured, okay, maybe it's a looping game where you go through the same 3 levels, but things change. Like, maybe the mechanics change, or maybe the puzzles change a little bit. But no. No, it's literally just those 3 levels. You start at the beginning and then just go through them again. It is a neat little game. I do like the atmosphere of the areas. Well, mostly the first and the third atmosphere. The second one, like I said, was very, very bare. Very boring. There's nothing to really say or do there. But I quite liked the first one. And like I said, the third one, just because of the looks and that vast empty feeling that you get while you're there, like you do actually feel like you're lost in your own mind or lost in another dimension, so that was pretty good. I still have no idea what the full game could be, but at the same time I don't feel inspired to buy it. This demo feels like that is all there is to the game. And if that is the case, then I would not exactly recommend the game. I wouldn't not recommend it, but at the same time, I also wouldn't recommend it. Like, if you want to check it out, like, if you're interested, then fine. But if you're not, I'm not going to try to sell you this game. It's very bare. No mechanics, or very few mechanics, I should say. And overall, I was actually rather disappointed. I'm glad it's just a demo, a free demo. I'm really happy I didn't pay money for this. And I do wish all the best to the developer. I really do. Because I think they have a knack for making games, and I think if they put effort into it, or maybe if they have the affluence to actually put certain effort and hire people for certain parts of the game, they could probably make a really, really nice game. Like, aesthetically, this game is very, very pleasing. I do like the graphics and the looks of the game, but the gameplay itself was very bare, so they might need some external help for that, or just more time. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not familiar with the developer, um, or any of their other work, if they even have other work. So that's just my 2 cents. And yeah, I'll just cut it here. There's not much more left to say on the game, and I'll see you all on the flip side of things.